This lesson is on analyzing heat flow. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe temperature and heat flow in terms of the motion of molecules or atoms and categorize chemical reactions and phase changes as exothermic or endothermic. In order to do this, we need to know what heat is. Heat is the energy that transfers from one object to another due to a difference in temperature. Heat flows from high to low temperatures. Therefore, if you have two items that are at the same temperature, no heat will flow between them. In order to understand and describe phase changes in chemical reactions, we want to understand two terms, endothermic and exothermic. In an endothermic process, energy is absorbed. It's absorbed into the system. Energies are also a reactant in a chemical reaction that's considered endothermic. Heat flow is going to go into the system from the surroundings. And just note that a system is whatever the thing is that you're studying. So it's sort of what we care about. And you define the system. On the other hand, an exothermic process is one in which energy is released. Energy would be a product of the reaction. It would sort of come out of the reaction, and heat flow will go out of the system and into the surroundings. So what we're going to do in these practice problems is determine what our system is, also define the surroundings, use the variation in temperature based on the situation to show which way heat will flow. Remember, heat flows from high to low temperature. Once we show the direction of heat flow, we can use the rule endothermic is into the system and exothermic is out of the system to label the heat flow as either endothermic or exothermic. Here's our first example. It's a barefoot on hot sand. So let's go ahead and pretend that our hot sand is 100 degrees Celsius and that our foot is not that hot. Let's pretend that the foot is, let's say 45 degrees Celsius. Okay, so we have a situation where the higher temperature is the sand and the lower temperature is the foot. Heat flows from high temperature to low temperature, so our heat is going to flow from the sand into the foot. Okay. So now, in order to figure out if this is endothermic or exothermic, we better define our system. Why don't we say the barefoot is the system? If we say the barefoot is the system, our heat is clearly flowing into that foot. Therefore, this is endothermic. Here's another example. A campfire on a cold day. So let's pretend this campfire is really hot, 1,000 degrees Celsius. And the cold day, the air temperature is, 20 degrees Celsius. All right, so now we can go ahead and use arrows to show the direction of heat flow. Remember, heat flows from high to low temperature. So that heat is going to be flowing out of the fire. You can, draw arrows whatever directions. It's going out of the fire. So now, in order to say whether this is endothermic or exothermic, we have to define our system. The only real thing I see in this picture is the fire, so why don't we say the campfire is the system. Those arrows are clearly going out of the fire from that area of high temperature out into the air, which has the lower temperature. So this would be an exothermic process. And those are our two examples. I hope this is helpful. Have a good afternoon.